Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I have a bunch of updates to share with you about Donald Trump's coup clown. So first, a quick update about Tina Peters. Peters is the former Colorado County clerk who's scheduled to go on trial next week. She allegedly helped to breach voting equipment after the 2020 election. You might remember that. I say, allegedly, but it's a pretty open and shut case. Her co-defendants have all taken plea deals. They're all going to be testifying against her. So she is rightfully terrified that she's headed to prison. And being that this is a state case, even if Trump wins in November, he can't pardon her. So she's screwed. So as a last Hail Mary pass, she, or her attorney, I should say, requested that the United States Supreme Court toss the 10 charges against her. There's felonies and misdemeanors in there. And the Supreme Court already responded. So they just made this request. Supreme Court already got back to them, said, nope, not doing it. Justice Neil Gorsuch, he's the one who handles cases that were already rejected by the appeals court that was assigned to her case. And he refused to even take up the matter, would not even review it. So she's done. She's going to trial next week. I will definitely let you know how that goes down. And probably not going to be any surprises there unless you got some ringers on the jury, but I'll let you know. Next is kind of related news about former Overstock CEO Patrick Byrne and his attorney, Stephanie Lambert, who has also been indicted herself. Byrne, as I mentioned a while back, or not too long ago even, he is being sued by Dominion Voting Systems for defamation. Lambert is representing him in that case. And like I shared, Dominion has accused the two of them of leaking discovery items to Tina Peters to be used in her trial. So they're saying, they're doing this to try to get this stuff out into the public, which they are legally not allowed to do. And they're, of course, twisting things. They're taking things out of context. So the judge in the defamation case had already ordered them to not do this. You cannot disseminate this information publicly. So now the judge has warned Byrne and Lambert that he is going to hit them with sanctions if they share any other case material with any outside parties. Now, Byrne is very wealthy, so I doubt some tiny monetary sanction is going to scare him straight. But I'm hoping maybe the judge will consider threatening him with jail time, throwing him in jail, or his attorney. That is definitely a possibility. So we'll see what happens there. I also have updates to share about America's defendant, Rudy Giuliani. Now that his bankruptcy case has been dismissed by the judge, Noelle Dunphy has asked the court to allow her sexual assault case against him to move forward. She was his assistant for a while. She is suing him for not paying her, also for sexual harassment, sexual assault. So I'll keep an eye on that. In the meantime, Giuliani's attorney was recently in court, and he was balking at the idea of draining Giuliani's bank account to pay a firm that was hired to investigate Giuliani's finances. So there's a company called Global Data Risk. They were hired by Giuliani's creditors with the approval of the court, by the way, because as I've shared with you guys, he is just not being honest. He's not being transparent about his finances. He's bobbing and weaving. He's hiding all kinds of stuff. And so now Giuliani owes Global Data Risk upwards of $400,000 for the work that they did. And this is something that has to be settled out immediately because the bankruptcy has now been tossed. The judge said, yeah, I'm going to get rid of the bankruptcy. It's not working. It's not helping anybody. So I'm dismissing this case. And Giuliani now has to come up with the money to pay all of his creditors. So this bill has to be covered somehow, some way, very soon. So his creditors said, okay, let's tap Giuliani's bank account. Let's give the company whatever cash he has in his accounts at this moment. And then the balance of what he owes can be taken out of the proceeds of the sale of his New York home whenever it sells, which has been on the market for a long time. Giuliani's attorney said, no, 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 that is just too onerous. He said it's punitive and overreaching. Those were his exact words. So we'll see what the judge decides on that. But I have a feeling the judge is not going to take much pity on him because Giuliani was just busted again for draining his bank account when he owes all of this money, right? And he owes what, almost $200 million to his other creditors, Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss and everybody else. So in court last week, Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss' attorney told the judge that Giuliani is, quote, up to Giuliani shenanigans yet again. And then she complained that Giuliani's attorneys haven't shared any bank statements with her. The attorney also told the judge that Giuliani spent thousands of dollars on first-class plane tickets for himself, for his girlfriend, and his assistant to fly to Wisconsin for the Republican National Convention. So, there were other things too. He used the money for other things as well, but they said he burned through about half of what was in his account. And I'm not talking about, a few $1,000s. According to Giuliani's attorneys, he had roughly $60,000 in that account 1 week before. As of last Wednesday's hearing, it was down about $30,000. So he drained $30,000 within 1 week. So the judge presiding over this case, which is Sean Lane, he tried to pin Giuliani's attorneys down. Like, how much does he actually have? What does this man have right now, liquid assets? They either couldn't or wouldn't give a straight answer. So the judge got pissed. Now, up until now, Giuliani has been allowed to attend these hearings virtually. So the judge warned them, I'm going to make him come in here. I'm going to make him come sit his ass in the witness box. He didn't use that word, but and answer these questions. And he told them, quote, if your client persists in this course of action, there are a lot of bad things that can happen. There are a lot of bad things your client doesn't want to happen that will happen. None of this is a surprise. This isn't complicated, nor is it unexpected, nor is it unusual. I'm really at a loss. I strongly urge you and your client to sit down and figure out what you really want the end game to look like. And then Judge Lane asked Giuliani's attorneys, quote, why should people have to wait if there are, in fact, liquid assets? So again, they couldn't really answer. So the judge said, okay, I'm giving you until noon tomorrow, which would have been Thursday of last week, to figure everything out, come back and tell me how much money this man has and what he can offer right now to pay his bills. And he said, quote, I frankly don't know what the appropriate next steps are. Like you all are doing, I'm considering my options. Well, that deadline came and went. Nothing was resolved. Giuliani's attorneys filed the most nonsensical response with the court. Seriously, I read it and it reminded me of when you're a kid and you write a book report, but you actually haven't read the book. Like you've read the back, maybe, or you heard about it, or you watched the movie at one time. And so you're just trying to make stuff up, double spacing everything. So we'll see what the judge decides to do, but it's not looking good for America's defendant. I also have a quick update about Attorney Jeffrey Clark. He is the former Justice Department attorney. He tried to help Trump commit the coup. He even Trump tried to make him, Jeffrey Clark, the acting attorney general for a few hours. That was according to the January 6th Select Committee. So Clark is now facing disbarment, as with so many other attorneys who tried to help Trump with the coup. And so he recently asked a D.C. court to move his disbarment proceedings to a federal court. It's right now in state. The court denied the request, and they described his arguments as, quote, irrelevant and moot. Kind of like, his election interference. Um, Last but not least, another Trump-related coup attorney just had an ethics complaint filed against him. So this happened a little earlier this month. Pro-democracy groups filed this complaint against an attorney called Kurt Olson. Now, Olson is said to have given advice to Trump about how to overturn the 2020 election. He helped to draft a couple of the so-called election fraud lawsuits, air quotes. He publicly also helped to push Trump's bogus election fraud conspiracy theories. And by the way, he's now helping out with Scary Carrie Lake and her own false claims of election interference. So these groups have now filed this complaint. They're asking for an investigation and they want him disciplined for, quote, unethical conduct. So I will keep an eye on that one as well for you. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like, please share, and subscribe. Please donate if you can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.